in the skies of the 1930s, a French behemoth took flight, its four engines roaring with a power that seemed to defy the era's delicate biplanes. The Farman F.222 was not just an aircraft, it was a bold statement of engineering ambition, a machine that carried the hopes of a nation eager to assert its place in the dawn of modern aviation. Designed to serve as a heavy bomber and later adapted for civilian transport, this colossal aircraft bridged the gap between military might and commercial dreams. Its story, though often overshadowed by more famous contemporaries, is one of innovation, resilience, and a touch of Gallic flair. Imagine a plane so large it could house entire crews in comfort, yet agile enough to evade enemy fire. Well, at least in theory. To understand this remarkable machine, let's journey back to the turbulent years following the First World War, when France sought to rebuild its air forces and carve a path in the skies. The origins of the Farman F.222 lie in the aftermath of the Great War, a period when France, still reeling from the devastation of 1914 to 1918, prioritized military modernization. The French Air Ministry, keen to bolster its bomber fleet, issued specifications in 1921 for a new generation of aircraft capable of delivering heavy payloads over long distances. The Farman Aviation Works, founded by brothers Henri and Maurice Farman, was already a respected name in French aviation. Henri, a pioneer who flew the first cross-country flight in Europe in 1908, and Maurice, an engineer with a knack for practical design, had built a reputation for reliable, if unglamorous, aircraft. Their company, based in Billancourt near Paris, had produced reconnaissance and training planes during the war, but the 1920s demanded something far grander. By 1925, the Farman brothers saw an opportunity to meet the Air Ministry's call for a heavy night bomber. The French military, wary of growing tensions in Europe, wanted a machine that could strike deep into enemy territory under the cover of darkness. The Farman team, led by chief designer Marcel Lobel, began work on a series of prototypes that would eventually evolve into the F.220 series. The initial design, the F.220, was conceived as a four-engine bomber, a rarity in an era dominated by single and twin-engine aircraft. The challenge was immense. Building a plane that could carry heavy bombs, withstand defensive fire, and remain stable over long missions required cutting-edge engineering. The Farman team faced a particular headache when sourcing engines powerful enough for the task. Early prototypes struggled with underpowered units, and the brothers probably wished they could just strap a few extra horses to the wings. Development was not without setbacks. The first prototype, designated F.220, took shape at the Farman factory in Billancourt in 1929. It was a massive undertaking, requiring new jigs and tools to handle the aircraft's unprecedented size. The French Air Ministry, eager for results, provided funding but imposed strict deadlines. Early tests revealed issues with structural integrity, particularly in the wings, which flexed alarmingly under load. Engineers worked tirelessly to reinforce the airframe, adding steel spars and thicker duralumin skin. By 1930, the prototype was ready for its first flight. On the 26th of May, 1930, at Toussus-le-Noble airfield near Paris, test pilot Lucien Coupet lifted the F.220 into the air. The flight was a success, though Coupet reportedly remarked that handling the beast felt like steering a ship through a storm. The aircraft's size and weight made it sluggish, but its stability impressed observers, who marveled at the sight of such a giant soaring over the French countryside. The historical context of the F.220's development is critical to understanding its significance. In the late 1920s, France was navigating a complex geopolitical landscape. The Treaty of Versailles had imposed harsh restrictions on Germany, but French military planners were already anticipating a resurgent threat across the Rhine. At the same time, colonial commitments in North Africa and the Middle East required aircraft capable of long-range operations. The Farman brothers saw their bomber as a dual-purpose machine, able to serve both metropolitan defense and imperial policing. Meanwhile, the global economic downturn of 1929 strained budgets, forcing the Farman team to balance innovation with cost. The Air Ministry's insistence on night bombing capabilities reflected lessons from the First World War, where daylight raids had proven costly. The F.220 was thus designed to operate in darkness, relying on its size and defensive armament to survive. The prototype's success led to rapid refinements. By 1931, the Farman team introduced the F.221, a variant with improved engines and a redesigned nose for better crew visibility. The Air Ministry ordered a small batch for evaluation, and by 1932, the aircraft entered service with the French Air Force, specifically with Bomber Group G, B-234, at Avord Air Base. The F-220 series was not a single model, but a family of variants, each tailored to specific needs. The F-222, the focus of our narrative, emerged in 1932 as the definitive version, incorporating lessons from earlier models. It featured more powerful engines, a strengthened airframe, and a layout optimized for both military and civilian roles. The Farman brothers, ever pragmatic, recognized the potential for civilian adaptation, especially as airlines like Air France sought aircraft for long-haul routes. The F-222's technical design was a marvel of its time, a testament to French engineering prowess. The aircraft was enormous, with a wingspan of 36 meters, roughly equivalent to a modern Boeing 737. Its length was 21 meters, and its height reached 6 meters, making it one of the largest aircraft of the 1930s. The airframe was constructed primarily of duralumin, a lightweight aluminum alloy with steel reinforcements in critical areas. The wings, mounted high on the fuselage, were cantilevered, eliminating the need for external struts or wires. This design reduced drag, but required meticulous engineering to ensure strength. The wings housed fuel tanks, capable of holding 4,000 liters, giving the F-222 a range of 1,000 kilometers or about 620 miles. Powering this giant were 4 Gnome 9 KBR radial engines, each producing 750 horsepower. These engines, mounted in pairs on the wings, drove 3-blade wooden propellers. The Gnome units were reliable but notoriously noisy. Crews often joked that the engines announced their arrival long before the plane was spotted. The aircraft's maximum speed was 220 kilometers per hour, or 137 miles per hour, with a cruising speed of 180 kilometers per hour, or 112 miles per hour. Its empty weight was 10,500 kilograms, and its maximum takeoff weight reached 15,800 kilograms. The F-222 could carry a bomb load of 5,200 kilograms, distributed across internal bomb bays and external racks, making it a formidable bomber for its era. The fuselage was a boxy functional structure designed to maximize internal space. The cockpit, located at the front, housed the pilot and co-pilot, who enjoyed a panoramic view through large glazed panels. Behind them was the navigator's station, equipped with charts and a radio set for long-range missions. The bombardier's position, in the nose, featured a glazed compartment with a bomb sight for precision targeting. Defensive armament was a key feature, reflecting the aircraft's military role. The F-222 was equipped with 3 gun positions, a dorsal turret with twin 7.5mm Darna machine guns, a nose turret with a single gun, and a ventral position for rear defense. These guns provided overlapping fields of fire, though gunners often complained about the cramped turrets. Hope they didn't mind cozy workspaces. Crew accommodations were another standout feature. The F-222 typically carried a crew of 6: pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, radio operator, and gunner. For long missions, the aircraft included a small rest area with foldable bunks and a basic galley, a rarity for military aircraft of the time. In its civilian configuration, the fuselage was reconfigured to carry up to 20 passengers in relative comfort, with upholstered seats and small windows for natural light. The civilian version, operated by Air France, featured a luxurious interior by the standards of the day, complete with a steward to serve meals. However, the transition from bomber to airliner wasn't seamless. Passengers often noticed the faint smell of oil lingering from its military days, a quirk that probably didn't make the in-flight menu any more appealing. Compared to contemporaries, the F-222 held its own. The British Handley Page, Hayford, another heavy bomber of the era, had a similar payload, but was slower and less versatile. The American Boeing B-17, still in development, would later outclass the F.222 in speed and range. But in 1932, the French aircraft was a leader in its class. Its all-metal construction and four-engine layout were forward-thinking, though its wooden propellers and fabric-covered control surfaces betrayed its roots in an earlier era. The F.222's design prioritized stability over agility, a deliberate choice for night bombing and long-range transport. However, this made it vulnerable to faster fighters, a flaw that would become apparent in later years. The operational history of the F.222 began with its induction into the French Air Force in 1932. The aircraft was assigned to bomber groups G, B-134 and G, B-234, based at Avoord and Reims, respectively. These units were tasked with night bombing and reconnaissance missions, training extensively to operate in low-visibility conditions. The F.222's first major deployment came in 1933, when aircraft from GB-134 were sent to Morocco to support French colonial forces during the Arif War. Flying from bases near Casablanca, the bombers conducted nighttime raids against rebel positions, dropping high-explosive bombs with surprising accuracy. One notable mission, on the 12th of June, 1933, saw Captain Jean Dubois lead a flight of 3 F.222s to destroy a rebel stronghold, earning him the Légion d'honneur for precision under fire. The aircraft's military service was not without challenges. Its size made it a lumbering target, and ground crews struggled with maintenance in the field. The Gnome-Rhone engines required frequent overhauls, and the complex hydraulic system for the landing gear was prone to leaks. Crews often joked that servicing the AF-222 took more manpower than a small army. Probably not far from the truth. Despite these issues, the aircraft proved reliable for its intended role. In 1934, a squadron from GB-234 set a French record for endurance, flying a 12-hour mission over the Mediterranean without incident. The pilot, Lieutenant André Martin, later recounted how the crew celebrated with a bottle of wine stashed in the galley, a rare moment of levity in the cramped confines of the bomber. As the 1930s progressed, the F-222's role shifted towards civilian use. Air France, seeking to expand its long-haul network, acquired 6 F-222s in 1935, converting them into airliners. The first civilian flight, on the 15th of March, 1935, carried passengers from Paris to London, a route that showcased the aircraft's range and comfort. Named Le Grand Duc, the lead aircraft was piloted by Captain Pierre Laurent, who praised its stability during turbulent weather over the English Channel. Air France later used the F-222 on routes to North Africa, connecting Paris to Algiers and Tunis. Passengers marveled at the spacious cabin, though some noted the aircraft's leisurely pace. Arriving fashionably late was apparently part of the experience. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 marked a turning point for the F-222. The French Air Force mobilized its bomber groups, and the F-222 was pressed into service during the early months of the conflict. In September 1939, aircraft from GB-134 conducted reconnaissance missions over the Siegfried Line, gathering intelligence on German fortifications. These missions were perilous, as the F-222's slow speed made it vulnerable to anti-aircraft fire. On the 3rd of October, 1939, a bomber piloted by Lieutenant Jacques Moreau was hit by flak near Saarbrücken, but managed to limp back to base, its crew miraculously unharmed. Moreau's quick thinking earned him a commendation, though he later admitted the return flight was more nerve-wracking than the mission itself. By 1940, the F-222's limitations were starkly apparent. The rapid advance of German forces overwhelmed French defenses, and the aircraft's slow speed and limited maneuverability made it an easy target for Messerschmitt Bf-109 fighters. During the Battle of France, GB-234 suffered heavy losses, with 8 F-222s destroyed in a single week in May 1940. One tragic incident occurred on the 17th of May, when a bomber from GB-134, piloted by Captain Louis Renault, was shot down near Sedan. The crew perished, a stark reminder of the aircraft's obsolescence against modern fighters. By the time of the French armistice in June 1940, only a handful of F-222s remained operational, most relegated to secondary roles like transport and training. The civilian F-222s fared little better. Air France grounded its fleet in 1940 as wartime restrictions halted commercial flights. Some aircraft were requisitioned by the Vichy government for transport duties, ferrying supplies to French colonies in North Africa. One notable mission, on the 9th of November 1940, saw an F.222, piloted by Captain Henri Dubois, deliver medical supplies to Dakar under challenging conditions. The aircraft's ability to operate from rough airstrips proved invaluable, though its age and wear were increasingly evident. After 1942, most F.222s were retired, their airframes too outdated to compete with newer designs. Unprecedented. The legacy of the F.222 is one of quiet significance. It was not a game-changer like the American B-17 or the British Lancaster, but it played a vital role in France's interwar aviation. The aircraft bridged the gap between the biplanes of the 1920s and the sleek monoplanes of the 1940s, paving the way for future designs. Its four-engine layout and all-metal construction influenced later French bombers, such as the Amio 350. The F-222 also demonstrated the versatility of large aircraft, serving as both a military asset and a civilian workhorse. Air France's use of the aircraft helped establish long-haul routes that remain critical today, a testament to its forward-thinking design. No F-222s survive today, a sad fate for such a pioneering machine. Most were scrapped during or after World War II, their materials recycled for the war effort. However, the aircraft lives on in photographs and archival records, preserved in places like the Musée de l'Air et de l'Espace in Paris. Its story is a reminder of the ambition and ingenuity of the Farman brothers, who dared to build a giant in an era of uncertainty. If you ever find yourself at an aviation museum, spare a thought for the F-222, a lumbering giant that carried France's dreams into the skies, even if it arrived a tad late to the party.